Hey everybody, and welcome to the Confined Kitchen. It is me, Ian Tyson, motivational speaker and avid home cook, ready to bring a recipe to you today. Now, today we're doing one of my personal favorites and a personal creation of mine from 5 or 6 years ago that I've been, refining and putting together. We're going completely from scratch with butter chicken tacos. Scratch butter chicken, scratch naan bread, the whole thing. Let's get going. So we've already got the naan bread mixed and rising. So we've got the dough right here. We're going to make naan bread taco shells out of these. So just so that I could tell you off the top, I've written down the ingredients so I can remember right here, so I can tell you. So what we mixed was 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of dry active yeast, 3 tablespoons of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of salt. Whisk those together in one bowl. In a medium-sized bowl, then 3/4 of a cup of warm water, 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, 3 tablespoons of yogurt. We mix those all together, mix them in with the dry ingredients. Once they started to, combine nicely, flour the hands, knead it into a dough. Once it just becomes a nice sticky dough, oil a bowl, warm, dry place, cover it in the plastic wrap, and it's about an hour and a half to have the dough rise. And then we've got our cast iron skillet that we're going to make that naan bread in. But let's get to the butter chicken, star of the show, the main feature here. So I make it from scratch. I've got all of my Indian spices right here. I'm a little, as far as the portions, we kind of make it up as we go. I used a recipe the first time I made butter chicken, and now we just kind of play. So we've got the pot warming up here. We're going to put a little olive oil in there, and then we're adding Spanish onion because it's what I have here. We're going a relatively rough chop on the Spanish onion because we're going to be immersion blending all of this anyway, so no big deal. So those onions are going right in at about, you guessed it, medium-high heat to get things going. Then we're going to add some red bell pepper. In those peppers go. Top it up with a little more olive oil, kosher salt, fresh ground black pepper. Mix those around a little bit. Now we've got Roma tomatoes today, so we're going to chop those up, put them in, and then add a little chicken stock to soften things up and get it cooking down. Tops off in half, and then again just a bit of a rough chop. And tomatoes are in. So what we did was 4 good-sized plum tomatoes, about 3/4 of a red pepper, and maybe 1/3 of a Spanish onion into the pot with salt, pepper, and olive oil. We're going to get that cooking down. Then we're going to start to add the spices and then all the other ingredients later on. Just a little bit of chicken stock, going to help to cook things down and impart some nice flavor to that as it's doing it. Onions, peppers, tomatoes, olive oil, chicken stock, all cooking down. Now, as to our spice mix here, with anything in terms of Indian cooking, there's a lot of different flavor profiles, a lot of different spice combinations you can use. These are the ones I use in most of my Indian cooking, and so just any combination therein, more or less of some. So we've got garam masala, tikka masala, ground coriander, ground ginger, cumin, and turmeric. Those are the base ingredients. I'll throw a little garlic in there too, salt, pepper obviously, but these are the base ingredients that are going to make up my butter chicken. Because as we know, I do love it, so we're going to add a little bit of roasted garlic in there. We'd normally add a bit of garlic, but this is going to really add a nice sweetness to it as well, which is what we're looking for. Now that mixture is really starting to cook down, we're going to start to add some of our spices. Some of the tikka masala, some of the garam masala, ground coriander, cumin, ginger, and of course a healthy dose of turmeric. Let's get all that cooking down nicely, incorporating all of those great flavors. And now we wait while this cooks down. So we're going to immersion blend this down, see what our flavors are like, add some butter and some yogurt, and then go from there. Well and properly blended. Okay, so that's now well blended. So what we're going to do is add some plain Greek yogurt, probably about half a cup, and a couple of nice big heaping tablespoons of unsalted butter. Put those in, we'll let them mix, we'll let them incorporate, we'll see what our flavors are like. Flavors are pretty good in there. We're just gonna let that sit. While we do that, how about we try some of this naan bread? So the dough is rested. Now normally, you know, naans would be looking at something about that big. We're gonna try and make them a little more like taco size, and then we're gonna put them in some foil, ovens at about 200 degrees, keep them warm. We're gonna preheat that cast iron, about 3/4 temperature, medium high. We've got our tongs ready. We're just gonna flour a workspace here. Just give that dough a quick knead. It's a nice stretchy dough. So let's start with maybe something around a little more than a golf ball size. Just pat it out, and then we're gonna roll it. We're not looking for perfect circles here. A good little bounce back, which is nice. Then what I like to do is just with your fingertips, just tap in there, make those little indentations that are gonna be good on your naan bread taco. We're just gonna take that and go straight onto the cast iron. Just a couple of minutes aside until they start to bubble up. We'll just keep that going and make more and more of them. And that's what we're looking for. All right, so the naans are all cooked. They are in the oven, staying warm. We're gonna butter those a little bit before. It's gonna be good. What we're gonna do now is put the chicken on, and we're gonna make some slaw with some cabbage, get all this stuff put together. It's gonna be all ready to go. This chicken is just salted and olive oil onto the grill. So while the chicken's cooking, we've got some red cabbage here. I'm just gonna cut that in half and then half again. Using about a quarter of the cabbage, and I'm just going to use that little baby right on the side of my grater. So that's just made some nice thinly sliced red cabbage, which is going to add a nice color and crunch to these tacos. We're going to give this just a dash of roasted garlic olive oil and a splash of cider vinegar. Pinch of salt. Okay, so that chicken is cooked through now. Again, just salt and olive oil. We're gonna chop this up, throw it in a bowl, toss in the sauce, and we're ready to plate. Chicken is ready for some sauce. So we're just gonna cover, we just want coverage. So we're gonna toss this all together. We're not doing it like a regular butter chicken where it's really saucy and you're dipping and all these other things. We're just covering it because it's for a taco. Just want to mix enough in that everything is covered with that nice butter chicken sauce. Perfection, look at that. Okay, so the naans are out. We've just put a little bit of butter on there because, good. We've spread these little tortillas we've got. Now here's the order of service in terms of plating these things. Normally I would have mango chutney. I was all out. All they had in the store was a peach chutney. This will do. There's a nice sweetness to it. So we're just gonna, little spread right down the middle. Just a little spread of chutney down the middle there. Then we're gonna add our butter chicken. Butter chicken on board. Now we're going to add that red cabbage. Nice color and crunch there. Oh, we are getting there now. Then we're going to go green onion, chopped. Then I've got a mixture that's about 50-50, 60-40 plain yogurt with lime juice and just a little bit of salt. Oh yeah. Want just a little line of sriracha. Then we've got just a little chopped cilantro on top. And friends, there we are, one of my favorite creations I've ever put together. Homemade naan bread, homemade butter chicken, tacos, beautiful color, beautiful crunch. These are lovely. I'm going to enjoy them, but I made this for you. Follow me at Ian Tyson on Instagram and Twitter, iantyson.ca for more information. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.